take that as a yes. Okay, thank you. I saw one thumbs up back there. Okay, welcome to Grown Up Storytime 191. Yay! Thank you for being here. We're going to do a little self-introduction, and then we'll give a couple announcements, and then we'll get this show started. My name's Emily. I'm a co-producer of the show.
I am Monica.
Yay! We have Amanda over here. She's got her cell phone taking pictures. Wave for the people. Yay, that's Amanda. And we have John in the back on the board. He's very friendly. Go say hi to him. There he is. Okay, thank you. We're going to do a couple of announcements for the readers first. When you get up here, go ahead and make yourself very comfortable. Adjust this as needed. There's a thing here. Okay, and then there's a thing here. Also, I decided to do a blanket announcement so I don't have to talk to every individual reader, but you don't have to wait for the host to get off the stage when it's your turn. As soon as they introduce you, just come on up. Cross stage at the same time. Go for it. Own the stage. Be the stage person. Okay, Monica's going to talk now.
All right, make some noise if tonight is your first grown-up story time. Nice, that's what we like to hear. So for those of you who are new to grown-up story time, I know I talked to some of you about the Moth and other cool literary events in Houston. What makes us special is that our readers are not our writers, and our writers are not our readers, and absolutely anyone and everyone can and should participate. So if tonight you're listening to a story and you're like, that reminds me of some time when or you think to yourself, I got a better story, you should absolutely email us, grownupstorytimehouston@gmail.com. We'll take a full story, we'll take a draft, you can ask for feedback, and if you want to get on this stage and be a reader, just come to a reading party, first Tuesday of every month at the Stinson House. If you have any questions at all, come talk to any of the producers after the show. And yeah, we also believe in paying our artists. So, there you go. On that note, the fundraiser link is still active because we did not get our grant from the Houston Arts Alliance this year. But thank you everyone who's donated so far to give us the rest of this season. So we'll make it to December. So thank you again for all of your support. Anything else?
I would also like to add, maybe if you know any rich people who need to make a donation, go ahead and send them our way. We'll have lunch with them. We'll wine and dine. I'm open. I'm open to it. I'm not going to say I'll do anything because I won't. But I'm open to some suggestions. And okay, the other thing I want to tell you is that we're very happy to be here at the Continental Club. A big round of applause for the Continental Club, yay! And for our bartender, who's wonderful, Jake, we love you. Thank you for being here with us. Also, as you can tell, this is just one big room, so we can hear you during the show. If you need to take a call or anything that involves speaking above a whisper, go ahead and go out here to the back. If you walk just straight through this room and you turn left, there's a hall that will take you to the back patio, and that hall is also where the bathroom is. So this is a casual show. Please feel free to get up, go to the bar during the show, go to the bathroom, do what you need to do, but if you need to have a full-on chat, we ask you to please take it out of the room. Is there anything else? I'm going to say no. That was a long pause.
No, I think just introduce our...
Yeah, I think we're ready. Do you want to introduce the host?
I can introduce the host. Okay. So, you might know this person. How many people have been to The Happening? Okay. So, it's your mission to go to The Happening. You'll find our friend in the orange jacket at The Happening every last Friday of the month at the Orange Show. Please check out the Orange Show Monument and all of those very cool things. That's actually how I found out about them, through my very first grown-up story time. And especially this year, as funding for the arts is being cut, we really do need to support each other. So if there's anyone that you've met tonight, you've heard their story, and you're like, hey, you're pretty cool, we should connect. Do it. Do it. We need community now more than ever. So without further ado, my friend and yours, please give it up for Andrew Whit.
How do you get that? Okay. Hi. My name is Andrew Whit, and I'm the creative director and usually the host. Sorry, that was harder than I thought it was going to be. Usually the host of The Happening at the Orange Show. Yeah, give it up for The Happening. Back in January, I had the people from Grown Up Storytime come and perform at The Happening at the Orange Show, and they must have thought I did a real good job. Thank you. They say the reward for good work is more work, but damn, this is ridiculous. In case anybody in the back of the room is calling the cops, it seemed to me like Emily called the hit, Amanda knocked me out, John put me in the trunk of his car, and Monica took my pants. I'm sure there was a reason for that. But anyways, thanks a lot for coming to Grown Up Storytime, guys. This is one of my favorite shows. Are y'all ready to get with it? Excellent, excellent, excellent. So as the host tonight, part of the condition, which will hopefully lead to my eventual release, is that I make sure y'all have a real good time, and I make sure to say all the names right, which is hard because I am dyslexic. And also, it would be great if y'all could, cheer. Y'all into cheering? Yeah, yeah. So it's like this. Like, when I say, get it, get it, yeah. And I just want y'all to cheer real big. Like, if it's a fun story or if it's a sad story, who cares? Just get it, right? All right, so that's what we're going to do all night. We're going to get it. All right, first up, we've got a great story called My Brother's Shoes, written by Andrew Kozma. Thank you. And read by Amanda Shih.
Hello, hello. All right, get comfy. Oops. I'm still getting comfy. Been taking this story with me everywhere. See, you can take your time. Shortly before COVID slammed the brakes on the world, and shortly after I broke up with my longtime girlfriend, I received a package from my brother. It had been sent to me at my old address, so my ex had to bring it to me. It wasn't a package I was expecting, and it had been sent by a circuitous route that didn't heighten my excitement to open it. The package could contain anything, after all. I once packed a dead cat. My dead cat in a box, after all. I'll call it Schrodinger's first failed experiment. And I'm not sure why my brother might send me a dead cat, but I wasn't sure why he was sending me anything without prior notice. My brother has overdosed twice on opioids without giving me any prior notice. Let me start again. I lied. My brother had given me prior notice, not of his ODing, but of the package. First, he called me to tell me he'd OD'd, but it was okay. He was okay. Then, during that call, he said he was going to send me some shoes. He asked me if I wanted some shoes. He asked me what my shoe size was and whether a half size too big would really be a problem. He said the shoes were really nice, cost about $400, were basically new, had only been worn once. He explained that they were the shoes he was wearing when he died. Jason, I said, why do you want to send me your death shoes? Andrew, he said, they're nice shoes. They're fashionable. People will look at these shoes on your feet and they'll say, hey man, nice shoes. You can honestly barely tell I died in them at all. I stalled. I pressed him with more questions. I didn't want my brother's death shoes. Why are you giving me your shoes? Meredith can't stand the sight of them. He said, he finally admitting my sister-in-law was the reason. Not that he was giving me the shoes, but it was either give me the shoes or throw them away. And they were basically brand new, after all, expensive, and such a waste to toss in the trash like that. Fine, I'll take them, I said, as if my having his death shoes as my new shoes would erase his overdose and the breach of trust in his marriage and return everything to the way it had been. Let me start again. When you OD, you die. It's Narcan that brings you back to life, a Lazarus shot. You're born anew, given a fresh start. Everything that happened before, all of that is what you were. And now you have to deal with who you are, which is person remade. Like these shoes. Look at them. Here, let me hold them up to the light. See the leather, the shape, the style? Okay, they may look kind of plain. They looked kind of plain to me, but I'm not well versed in expensive shit. And isn't sometimes the most expensive shit that seems the most basic? All that money in its construction. How it will last forever. Or at least a long fucking time if you take care of it. Like your body, like your mind. Anyways, I've got these shoes. Let me start again. When I was younger, my brother annoyed the fuck out of me. I mean, as brothers, we got along as well as like two pieces of sandpaper. When I was really young, I followed him around and wanted to be a part of everything that he was doing because it was cool, because he was doing it. My brother hated this. My mom had to force him to let me take part. When we were slightly older, my brother wanted to be closer. The closer it was to him leaving for college. He wanted to play games. He wanted to hang out with me and my friends when we were playing tabletop war games. But this annoyed me. And he couldn't help but dig into that annoyance in the way that siblings do, even if he didn't really want to. He dug around my brain for my weaknesses and just splayed them wide like a frog on a dissection table saying, "Does this hurt? Does this hurt? Why? It shouldn't hurt you. Don't let it hurt you." At times, I wanted him to die. I'm sure of it. Or not die, but to suffer in so extreme a way that he would leave me alone to live my life. Which is to say, I didn't really want my brother's shoes. Which is to say, I didn't really want him to die. Which is to say, I didn't really want to be reminded of my brother dying every time I wore these shoes. Let me start again. My brother died in 2019. He was immediately brought back to life. Narcan, as I've said, Jesus juice for the current age. Shortly after my brother died, he mailed me his shoes. Specifically the shoes that he died in. The shoes that accompanied him into the hotel. The shoes that kept him company as he took the drugs. The shoes that accompanied him to the hospital. that patiently waited for him to be stabilized, to be checked out, to be released. These shoes were with him every step of the way. What can be more intimate than those things that we wear, that we own, that take us where we want to go? Or, more importantly, not where we want to go, but where we end up. Let me start again. I wore the shoes my brother died in. I did not think that I would. I thought the shoes would sit in their box in the closet and quietly let themselves be forgotten. I knew I couldn't wear the shoes. Every time someone said, "Hey man, nice shoes," I'd feel compelled to respond, "Thanks, my brother died in these shoes." I didn't want to go where my brother went. I didn't want to retrace those steps. I wore the shoes my brother died in. Someone, I don't remember who, said, "Hey man, nice shoes." And I said, "Thanks."
All right, guys, one more time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As you can tell, so far, so good. I even got my pants back. Positive things all around. All right, guys, so as part of the conditions for the show, as I mentioned earlier, got to say the names right, got to keep you guys cheering. Yes, yes, yes. And also, how many of y'all have been to Grown Up Storytime before? Great. So you might have noticed we've only got 5 stories tonight. And to fill time, another... I'm not taking off my pants again, chill out. To fill time, another condition that they gave me is that I should tell a story. So I'm going to tell a story in between each story. Does that sound cool? Yeah. Great. So it's rodeo season, right? Yeah. Yeehaw. When I was a kid, I was raised by my grandparents. And they were on the board of the rodeo, and that was really cool. And when I was 5 years old, they took me to my first rodeo. And they decided they should take me on Tejano Day. I'm 36 now, which means this was 1995, and Selena was playing. Swear to God, y'all, swear to God. Really, really awesome. I assume. I can't really remember any of it. But one thing I do remember is having to use the porta potty for the first time. And my grandfather set me in there with full confidence. And I went in and looked at the scene of the crime. It was the worst thing I had ever seen. I didn't know what to do. And I pissed my pants. And that's chapter 1. Thank you. Yes, thank you guys very much. All right. Our next official story tonight is called Whose Choice? It was written by Katy Manning, and it will be read by Brenda Valdivia.
Oh, to be young and have good knees. This is Whose Choice by Katy Manning, read by me. It's 2026. It is the 3rd birthday in a row that I haven't heard from my mom. My choice, she'd say. And I'm sure she does to anyone who will listen. I worry about her. My birthday is not just the day I was born. It's the day she became a mother. An anniversary she's been celebrating since 1989. Did I take that from her? Was it mine to take? Can she celebrate being a mother when she's been cut off from the daughter who made her one? I can estrange, but I can't untie. We're forever bound. I miss her. I don't want to see her or talk to her. It would make my blood race through my veins or burn when they give you the anesthesia before it starts to feel calming. Numbness is never free, but I miss her, and I am not numb. My heart is full and lifted by the love of so many, including my mother, even if she won't currently express it to me. And my heart is broken and weighed down. It's so heavy, pinched. How can it be both? Do I have two hearts? It doesn't switch back and forth. It's both at the same time. Heavy, lifted, and heavy, full, hollow, bolstered, broken. Breathing in and out at the same time seems simpler, though trying as I'm writing this gave me hiccups. I miss her. I miss my mom. I don't know if I've said that since I was a small child. I don't remember saying it when I was away for a week at Girl Scout camp. In truth, I don't remember saying it at all. I remember separation anxiety when she dropped me off at daycare. I've also heard stories. Only your mama and nanny could hold you, or you just cry and cry. I learned that's what love looks like. Attaching to someone you think is safe, followed by waiting and crying. It wasn't my mom's fault. That's what she learned love looked like too. She was the youngest of four, two older brothers, my aunt, then my mom. Their dad left before she was born. Love meant waiting, yearning, hoping, and crying. My dad used to write off her frustrations when they were married, saying she had a chip on her shoulder from how she was raised. Wouldn't you? My mom always wanted to make sure I felt special, and I did. I felt really important, like if I wasn't there, things just might fall apart. You don't really know that as a kid. It's just a sense that you have. I learned that was love too, alternating between feeling special and feeling left. It would go something like, "You're so special. I love you so much." And then a drink. "Let's hire a pony for your birthday." And then a big fight with my dad. "You're so good at drawing. Look at that award." Then crying on my bed, drunk and pleading, "Please don't be friends with her. She's bad. I had a friend like her, and she hurt me. Listen to me. If you sing your UIL song for me, I'll give you money for the mall." Then bringing home a married man who didn't like kids. What kind of beer do you want for your 15th birthday? Old English, Mickey's? Okay. Then blacking out and calling her Bible thumper mother, who came over insisting she needed to perform an exorcism while I tried to keep the party noise down. "Let's go to Galveston with Aunt Jody. We deserve a nice trip." Then handing me the wheel while I'm in the passenger seats. "If driving's so easy, then why don't you just take over? I can't believe you poured on my drink again." "Please don't say that about yourself. Repeat after me. I am so beautiful. I am loved." Then, "You think this was hard? At least you were never molested by your stepfather." "I don't know. Where am I? It's really dark and it's hard to see. No, I don't want to take your money for a motel. I'll just drive through the night. I should find the Oklahoma border soon." then from jail. Well, I guess you and your brother don't care about me anymore. Fine, whatever. I'll just call your Uncle Mark to pick up the car and drive it to Texas. Thanks for flying out for my surgery. I love you so much. Then, if you love me, you bring me my Benadryl and my NyQuil. I can't believe you told the nurses about my stash. Have you tried sleeping in a hospital after major surgery? I love you. I'm so proud of you. Then, why should I go to my cancer screening? It's not like you cared if I died. And finally, you are the best daughter in the whole world. Thanks for taking such good care of me. Then, if you don't give me my morphine, I guess I don't have children anymore. I don't think I ever stopped missing my mom. I've been missing her since she left the room after dropping me off in daycare. I don't miss who she's become. I miss feeling special. I miss seeing the light of the little girl inside her who was so energetic and playful and special herself, but never got enough love, who was made to feel different for all the wrong reasons, who shined through my mother all the time in her listening, her growth, and her really, really trying to beat addiction. That piece of her that for a long time convinced me she would change. She would get sober. She would stop lying. She would stop using after 6 months of jail. Thank God for that. If I had a detox in jail, I never would have stopped opiates. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom. God has a plan. But 2023 was one relapse too many. One lie too many. One major surgery too many. So, I took some space. This wasn't just unfair to me. It was unfair to my husband, who had been so patient and giving with both me and her. But most of all, it was unfair to my mother, treating her like the way she was acting was okay, as if she can't do anything else, as if she has no other option. It's belittling, condescending. I never want to be tiptoed around that way, as if no one thought I had the capacity and fortitude to be held accountable. So I stopped enabling her. I wrote to her before my brother's wedding that year saying, I know it must be hard not hearing from me on my birthday, your birthday, and Mother's Day. I'm sorry we didn't talk then. When I see you at the wedding, I hope we can hug and say hi. I want to have a better relationship with you. I'm just not sure what that looks like right now. She wouldn't even speak to me at the wedding, and I haven't heard from her since. Whose choice is that? Thank you.
Thank you. You're doing that for me just as much as everybody else. All right, guys. So that first trip to the rodeo did a few things for me. One, it made me a little weird about bathrooms. Like forever. And it also might have given me kind of like the performance bug. Because, I mean, you see Selena, even if it's a repressed memory, you're like, well, it leaves an impression, right? And so when I grew up, I became a performer. And when I was younger, I was really at it, man. I was like running venues, working for record labels. I was like one of those guys who was playing in like 4 or 5 bands at a time. and I burnt myself out. And I kind of put it all away very abruptly and decided to just get like the easiest job in the world at the easiest place to work, Bohemios. And that actually was great. Now Bohemios is nice now. If you might think like, wow, Bohemios is nice now. Yes, it used to be worse. I used to be the worst barista at the worst coffee shop in town, and I was pretty proud of that. But while I was there, this guy started coming in early on my morning shifts. He'd usually be my first customer around 8 in the morning, and his name was Dave Dove. And I love Dave. We became fast friends. He, over time we got to know each other, and he started inviting me to this. Hell yeah. Just wait. Love it. Anyways, he started inviting me to his event that happens twice a year seasonally, Mondays at the Lawndale Art Center, called They Who Sound. Everybody knows it, right? Wow, yeah. I won't tell Dave you said that. Anyways, so I started going to They Who Sound, and I thought it was awesome. Because if I ever had to see another curly-headed boy playing guitar like this, I, at that time, was pretty sure I was gonna kill myself. And I started going to They Who Sound, and sometimes it would be like world-class musicians, and then other times it would be a vibrator in a trash can. And I was just like, this is art, like Sandy Ewan playing a guitar with a drill is rock and roll, man. Anyways, so it's actually a place where I like to take people when I first start dating them. I'm talking like second date, third date. This is how I know they can hang or not. Another great thing about it is it's free, and so are the drinks. And God, I will go anywhere that's free, especially if the drinks are free. I will come to your wedding. I will attend your gala. I will host your show. And I don't know, it was new. For somebody who was like a rock and roller, like music player, whatever, in the scene, it was really new to me. And I love new experiences. And another thing that I really love is giving other people new experiences. And while I was there, I met my friend, my very good friend, Agazette, and she's Polish, so she's not from here. And man, I've got to show her a bunch of cool new things. And we'll talk more about that in chapter 3. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, this next one is called Prisons. It was written by Astrid Lange. Yeah. And it's going to be read by Brit Garcia.
We'll take the get comfy note. You're in a state of crawling dread. A lead ball in your stomach for days, and the final 24 hours before the thing happens? Absolute agony. The very nerves in your butt and guts tingling like the world's most unending diarrhea will flow. You'll never crawl out of this bathroom alive. Why? Because you're teaching the first day of bilingual kindergarten at Estella Stewart Elementary on August 13th, 2005. After a former career as a meth dealer and punk. Bam! Let's process that, because at the time, I sure couldn't. Huntsville, Texas is the land of prisons. Prisons where I very well could have been, and which I drove by every day while preparing my first ever kindergarten classroom. The colloquial term for the Huntsville death row prison is the walls. My testimony helped put someone in particular in there, although it's what he did that put him there first. They say living well is the best revenge. I say sometimes just living does fine too. But for the years since it happened, I'd had a slow burning death wish in my own prison on the outside.
I wasn't sure that the kindergarten classroom wouldn't turn out to be a new, different one. I was terrified. It was a split class. Half the students were high kinders, half low firsts, because they'll be at the same level. You'll teach them how to read and have number sense. And because they're English language learners, you'll teach them in Spanish. This is such a pivotal year for them. If that makes you anxious as a reasonable adult sitting here, imagine what hearing that did to a newly sober former meth head dealer who hadn't spoken Spanish since college 10 years ago and who'd fled Houston with the clothes on her back from corrupt cops into a 12-step home in Conroe, where a crackhead stole her clothes and car, and then she also had to get a hysterectomy because she kept ending up in the ER. And she had no job, no money, no sense of who she actually was anymore, or ever had been, especially without a uterus, and most of all, who never ever wanted to be a teacher. And driving past prisons every day. The imposter syndrome was real, y'all. I also quit smoking cigarettes 2 months earlier. I don't know if you've ever quit any addictions, but if you have, you'll recognize this. Anywhere from 6 months onwards in the first few years, you will have using dreams. They're turbulently vivid, and you wake up angrily frustrated. Nicotine is a physical addiction. I wore rubber bands around my wrist to snap them every time I had a craving. But the physical ritual of sliding behind the wheel of a car and lighting a cigarette, that first exhalation, that was the hardest one to extinguish. The physical craving on the inside, roaring, alive in stress, anger, joy, fear, the sharp inhalation and the slow exhale, the controlled tap of the edge of the ashtray. I can feel it even now. Methamphetamine, at least the way I did it, is not as physical as addiction. But I'd sold to and sat around shooters and smokers, watched others struggling in the half-bluish light to find a vein in the thigh, the back of the hand, the neck. I only snorted it, swallowed it. But one of those times when I'd gone to Glenda's the Good at 4 a.m. to pick something up, one of the shooters in the group asked if I'd take their sleeping kid to school the next day. I did. I will never forget that. So, here I was in the classroom, bagging 10s and 1s. Number sticks, y'all. For the students to count with. I didn't even know how to use a Cricut, how to decorate colored bulletin boards with teddy bear worksheets and Comic Sans font, how to set up a cozy reading corner, oh my God, how the fuck was I supposed to do this for 7 hours every day? And in Spanish? The only transferable skill I had from my prison life my prior life was a deep knowledge of the metric system of weights and measures. I felt like a feral, moody teen raised by crows on a rocky island that never saw the sun compared to these chirpy, cookie-baking, church-going, regular seaman first-grade teachers who didn't talk about being followed, carrying wads of cash, or anyone named Mooch or Scooter. I refused to change my green eyeliner. My teacher's Spanish wasn't great. I had to take the Texas Oral Proficiency Test 3 times. So, I was standing there in the doorway of the classroom, like the Harry Wong book we had to study for teacher prep, to make positive classroom culture from the get-go. Only Harry Wong's videos never showed him visibly shaking from fear. And there they came. They were so little, so alive. Such distinct flashes of personality, and in the quick glance away, the struggle to hold the absurdly heavy backpack of school supplies. Some so scared, too. Maybe we were all shaking. The door of the classroom shut. The clock showed 7:40 a.m. Buenos dias, vamos aquí, I said, pointing to the carpet squares. Oh, shit. I forgot to tell them my name. There's a moment before lunch, around 10:30 a.m., when the whole day seems endless and your eyes become glassy with tears around the edges as you struggle for the words for the behavior clips on the yardstick and you realize you've gone too fast through the lesson plans. How do you get a room full of kids to listen without cursing? If you lose this job, you're back to nothing. I could relate to my students' difficulties with English. My brain was about to burst from total immersion in Spanish. It's hard, y'all. And I know how to read and write where the words stop and start. It is an ongoing injustice with so many rich indigenous and other languages to treat them as less than. I wasn't the only nervous new teacher on the kinder team. That actually cheered me up. Principal Regina Gibson saved my ass. She came to each of our classrooms, stopped us at lunch, and reiterated this at the end of the day. Today is not about anything else other than get them fed and get them home. If we can do that, we've all succeeded. Tomorrow and the rest of this week, we get them fed, we get them home, and practice routines. That's it. You're all doing a great job. I lit up an invisible cigarette immediately on the drive home, inhaling sharply and exhaling, holding it between my fingers while gripping the steering wheel the whole way. Every day that year, I drove by death row, knowing that no matter how much stress, I was still free, still alive, but doing my penance, so to speak. No one knows what they don't see. I can't erase the things I saw. I felt the weirdness of this new identity and acute discomfort sober in the world. I hated J. Jill. I hated boxy, ugly, Stuart Elementary t-shirts. I hated lesson plans. But now, I've taught every grade level and university and beyond away from Huntsville, around the world, and back. I've had anxiety attacks almost every day, almost all of those years, and I still can't decorate a fucking bulletin board with teddy bears. But I learned how to write my own songs, escape my own prison. Y así se puede.
All right, y'all. All the ladies, give me a. Very good. All the men, give me a. I like you guys. You know, I've come to Grown Up Storytime as a guest many, many times. It's always a good time. Lots of really fun stories all the time. This one's been great because it's so many stories about struggling with addiction so far, which is the perfect segue to chapter 3 of my story. I like drugs. I like drugs. I've never personally struggled with addiction, and that's not because I'm a very disciplined person. I promise you, I certainly am not. It's really just because of how cool I am. And by that I mean cool enough to always get drugs for free. Love free, we remember that. But never cool enough to have the drug dealer's phone number. But, doing drugs is great because, like I said earlier, I love new experiences. And when you're on drugs, you have a lot of new experiences. Like the time me and my friend Aga were really messed up at a party one time, and we ended up playing Duck, Duck, Goose in a foyer. And it was the first time she had ever played Duck, Duck, Goose. Again, she ain't from around here. And so we're just having the time of our lives, and nobody got hurt. A drug miracle. But something that's never a new experience is the way my body reacts when I'm on, the good drugs. You know what I mean? And by that, I mean, at some point in the evening, I will feel like I gotta take a shit. But I don't. And it's like a somatic thing. I think it's my body responding to the stress and whatever, and it's go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom and I sit there and nothing happens. And then I get up and I, every single time, look in the mirror, which they say you're not supposed to do, but I have to because I'm a narcissist. And I look in the mirror and I wonder if anybody who's ever told me I'm handsome was a liar. Then I take a few selfies to confirm it. And I wait until somebody jiggles the door. Then I wait just a little longer to make them think I did poop. And then I leave, and the bathroom smells like nothing, and they think, my shit don't stink. Mind games. Narcissist, mind games. Peed myself at the rodeo. Likes drugs. You're learning a lot about me tonight. Yay! Our next story is called Thank You. It's going to be read by Astrid Lange. Nope. Don't. It's going to be read by Nigel Perry. And written by, God, I'm never going to get out of here. I'm never going to see that happening again. Anyways, it was written by Nigel Perry and will be read by my good friend, actually very new friend. We spoke on the phone the other day. Do you remember that? I know, that was us. Yeah, what's up, Antoine? I know, and now you did for the first time. We'll get back to that later. Shh. Gonna be read by my good friend, Antoine Culbreath.
I was told to get comfortable. It's gotta be Damn it! Well, whose comfort are we worried about here? Okay, that's enough. Just a short disclaimer before we start. There are some words in here that I will say in a tone that sounds like singing, and I'm sorry. If you're familiar with classic gospel music, and I were to tell you my writing also shares titles with popular gospel songs, you would immediately further inquire, thank you by which artist? I would nod, acknowledging your astuteness, and I would reply, tragedies are commonplace. All kinds of diseases, people are slipping away. Economy's down, people can't get enough pay. As for me, all I can say is thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me. That's enough. We would both approximate the great Walter Hawkins when in June of 1990, the Bishop dropped a timeless classic, a thing to be considered nothing short of a word from God in a time of need when that time of need is all the time, even today and tomorrow. For the thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. That's the power of gospel music and gospel music in merry matrimony. The message in the music matches the arguments the words make. On that particular day, I sang that song at the top of my lungs. Yes, with alligator tears in my eyes, bloody, blessed, and sparking the beginnings of a fresh blunt. Folks without homes, living out in the streets, and drug habits, some say, they just can't beat. Muggers and robbers, no place seems to be safe. But you've been my protection every step of the way. I want to say thank you, God, for what you've done for me. Stop it. Windows down, radio loud on I-45, the whole 45-minute drive home until I lost my voice. I knew God would have heard me if I had thanked him in a whisper, underneath my breath, in a whimper, underneath the melody lambasting the speakers. I wanted everyone else to hear me too. That day was a day in Exodus. Like many days before it, I was underemployed, being supplemented by unearned income when work was slow. But I still had everything to be grateful for. My manna from heaven memories. Grateful memories in exceedingly turbulent times, like when God gave the Israelites just enough chicken and crackers to make it to the end of the day on the way to the promised land. When they were unhappy with the constant bare minimum, the excess would wriggle and rot, a smell one never forgot. I remember I had been sober a while. More importantly, all day under the circumstances, which was another day I had to drive my boss around Houston, listening to him chime in about how much he also hated niggas, as we both listened to conservative morning radio jockeys in rush hour. No names. That one got you, huh? I was rid of them and ready to relapse. Blessed to say that and not have it on my life. Unfortunately, addiction out there is something that can tear down the body in astonishing ways. To pursue a feeling of joy no substance on earth can sustain is truly a God curse. For millions, payday was the last day they saw their loved ones alive. And as for me, as much as I want to downplay it, marijuana is addictive like sugar and salt, alcohol and fentanyl, power and perversion. As a sin, I prefer it over other things I won't try, because an overdose of marijuana equates to a good night's sleep for me. Best case scenario, decent writing session, no matter how long that session may be. I had gotten off early. It was 2 o'clock. I was walking up to the dispensary in the hood, past Emancipation, when someone tried to rob me. At the time of the attempted mugging, I was content with what I had, a mountain of debt, yet the essentials were safe. All my promissory notes made, enough to piece together something to eat for 2 weeks, maybe $60. With all that going on, I don't know what made me seem like an easy meal ticket to this homeless man. He was probably homeless. I'll explain. Like I had done a time or two before, I had parked across the street. Danger was not the reason. The parking lot in the strip mall is full of potholes. Yes, I'm obviously in the hood, and including the potholes, it's still packed. Cars pulling through because there's a laundromat and a hair salon down the way from the dispensary. This was a public place in broad day, with children and mutts running around. I should have been safe. I felt no sense of danger or goosebumps walking up, overhearing 2 cars arguing the rites of passage past the pothole. The most that anyone there escalated to was yelling about how much ass was going to be whooped if they both had to get out of cars and whoop ass. Gladly, they kept driving, which is where my attention was when I felt someone run up on me and try to knock me down. I stumbled. A step, maybe 2. When I turned around, I saw a shirtless, nappy, light-skinned older black man wearing black gloves, cargo shorts, boots, and a wild look of ill intent in his eyes. I immediately inclined to ask him, "Are you crazy?" I felt the question justified. He replied, "Is that my shirt you got on, nigga? Huh?" Shocked, I replied, no. This is not your shirt. Well, hold on, what are you saying? This time I emphasized my inquisition. Are you okay? Because, the implications of what he was trying to reach at, His reply, "Is that my hat you got on too?" I had seen then that he had no intentions of backing down or coming to his senses. And now people who were watching the girls in the two cars were now looking at him, looking at me, accusing me of robbing him? With no more speculation about his mental stability, because certainly he is crazy, I say with excitement, "Oh, you trying to rob niggas." The statement visibly changed his body language. Plus, he had time to process the attempt to knock me over, to study me, and to, actively register the events playing out, including my new sentiment, "I want to fight." I picked my shades up off the ground, dusted them off. He hadn't rattled my heart rate. I had time to study him also, I know what you're saying. Why didn't you just walk away? My answer to you is the same as David had to walk away from the fight with Goliath of Gilgith. God's love. I know what you're thinking. That I think I'm some sort of holier-than-thou, backsliding, sinning, drugged-up narcissist. I'd like to remind you that I was completely sober during, before, and just a little after this incident. And if I may paraphrase scripture, David heard Goliath's reproach and was offended by it, same as I. David had asked if there was a prize for being the brass-clad giant. I relished in the opportunity to be Batman for a day. I'm fucking up. David's inquiry made people even more suspicious of his arrogance, because why is he even worried about prize money when he should be scared shitless like every other soldier, even King Saul? David's defense, who is this motherfucker that he should defy the armies of a living God? In my defense, I was being kept for a day, for week by week, so who is this motherfucker to think that he can take what the Lord has given me? I hear you, though. Just as clear as David heard his older brother Eliab, who was the most annoyed by his boastful intent, "Why camest thou down hither? And whom hast thou left those few sheep with in the wilderness? I know your pride. I know your naughtiness of thine heart, and thou art came down here that thou mightest see if the battle." I say to you what David replied to his brother. What have I now done? Is there not a cause? The scripture goes on to say, "And he turned from him toward another and spake after the same manner." David's only answer to anyone who thought of him as arrogant or who wanted to argue, even the soldier, until the soldiers took him to King Saul, the last thing David said to Saul, "The Lord that hath delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear will deliver me out of the hands of this Philistine." And Saul said unto David, Go, and the Lord be with thee. And here I go. He's in full retreat. Okay, I follow him across the street with a stern directive to never return to this part of the hood ever again. He refuses and tries to reel me into an abandoned building if I wanted to fight so bad. And then I laughed an insult and said, no? But come in here and I'll show you, nigga. I told him, no, I don't do crack. I don't want to step on a needle. I don't know why nothing else I had said up to that point, it made him as mad as he got after I said that. But the comment caused the argument between us to escalate and then come to a plateau and a pause when I told him if he was able to reach in my pockets, he would only find God. That's when he apologized and said he knew and he understood in an argumentative way and that he wanted to leave me be. I refused, citing his previous actions, and then I gave him the choice to prove himself beyond his words in action by self-banishment or stay and face the consequences. Me. Sorry about that. Okay then, nigga. Let's fight. He made his choice clear when he put up his dukes. I issued my last warning. Sir, you don't want to do that. I'm way quicker, and I'm stronger than you. He had taken nothing from me. This wasn't vengeance. He believed himself to be a predator and thought that he could just pick anyone as his prey. I had a lesson to teach. Oh yeah, nigga? With that, he threw his first punch. Whew, a quick jab straight at my face. When that punch missed, we were nose to nose. And I was smiling in disrespect, like one of those villains from Demon Slayer. I tried to warn him I wasn't nothing to play with, and I proceeded to push him against the prone bright red Bronco on bricks. The impact knocked his breath out of him. Before he had a second to catch it, I threw him across the street on his back, and he couldn't get up or get away fast enough from my stalking him. He had just enough time to turn around on his stomach and try to crawl away. Before he could get traction on the slippery pavement, my knee was in the middle of his back. His afro was in the palm of my hand, and his forehead was bouncing off the naked street, Hood Street at that. Gravel, once jet black and tarred together like glue, now jutty and loose. And after a decade of becoming old and gray and deep with potholes that pool dust and pebbles. And at this point, we are both victims of the same crime. We were on the ground for too long before he felt his life was in danger. After I let him up, I took account of my injuries. Blood on my hand, not mine. My knees hurt, the gravel. Other than that, he was running the whole time. 0 punches thrown from his corner. Afterwards, I took account of his state. He was knelt over, breathing hard. His back was covered in road rash like he'd been in a motorcycle accident. He was bleeding from his mouth, from his forehead, and from a cut just above his eye. But he kept dabbing the cut on his forehead as it was a steady drip. I told him, yeah, I'm ready for round 2. I added a, ha-ha, I'm not even tired yet. I ran 3 miles yesterday for fun. He proudly proclaimed that there would be no round 2, and he pulled out a knife. I agreed. I departed and went to the dispensary. I bought my weed. I see him across the street circling my car with a brick. My car. The robbery didn't work. Now he's defeated, desperate, resorting to busting windows and petty crime. Hey! You want to get your ass whooped again? I yell. That's my car! Oh! This your car? I ain't gonna do shit to it. Yeah, you bet not. With that, he walked into the outer branches of the blocks. From my car window, I yelled out loud as I could while he walked away down the street, hey, You need an ambulance? He shouted some expletives back. Good! You will if I ever catch you around here again. I turned the car back on. The Bluetooth picked up right where it had previously left off. See, I'm fucking up again. The day's theme song. I drove off singing, smoking, coughing, and singing. It could have been me. Outdoors. No food. No clothes. Or left alone. Without a friend. Or just another number. With a tragic end. But you didn't see fit to let none of these things be. 'Cause every day by your power, you keep on keeping me. And I want to say thank you, Lord, for what you've done for me. Hey. Hey. I want to say thank you, Lord, for all that you've done for me.
Oh, he's tall. All right, what a fun show we're having here. Just stories about overdoses and addiction and anxiety and robberies. Y'all really picked the right man for the job. I'm very in my element here. So long as nobody dies, I think we'll be all right. Anyway, so this is the part where, which is chapter 4, where I'm going to take some of the other chapters that we went through and kind of bring them all together. Good storytelling. So, this chapter is about me being at the rodeo, on drugs, with my friend Aga, showing her something new. Because it was last Wednesday, and she had never heard of Creed. Oh, and it was so sick, y'all. It was so sick because, like, it was a sold-out show. So it's packed. People got their arms in the air, and, like, and I'm just geeked because it's, like, ironically amazing, right? And we're on drugs, so great. And Aga's husband works for LD Systems, which was doing all the lights and sound for the event, so we got in for free. You know I love it. Anyways, so I'm there in the stands having a good time. They're running through a bunch of songs, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even I realized something. This is actually a sidebar. I didn't even write this down. When I, like, my therapist pointed this out to me. When I, like, don't like things, I give it a lot of attention. And so, even though it's like Creed is an ironic band, I was like, holy shit, I know every single one of these songs. And so I'm having a good time, feeling it. Aga's there. I'm showing my friend something new. And all of a sudden, I feel the LSD ghost shits. And, like, I really wanted to go to the bathroom. But then I realized that, like, a lot of and people were having a great time. Everybody's got their hands in the air. There was a guy next to us who was, like, FaceTiming his baby's mama with the baby, like, Creed concert. And I'm like, this is amazing. But then I realized in that moment where I have to go to the bathroom that I don't want to go to the bathroom. Because I don't know if y'all noticed, earlier when I was on stage with my pants off, if you got here late, but I'm trans. All the trans people in the room. Oh, wow. Oh, man, I thought it was good. I was really banking on it being silent. But the rodeo, and I don't know if y'all know this about Creed, but they're like a religious band. And then in that moment, I realized that everybody had their hands in the air, not just because they're like hands in the air, but because this is like the gospel, you know? My sacrifice. That it is, and he was spitting Christ the whole time in between songs. And so I'm feeling kind of weird. I'm like, man, what do I do about this? And normally I don't, as weird as I feel about bathrooms, as were mentioned early in the story, again, if you got here late, sorry. I've always kind of like considered myself a transbassador. And by that I mean like I'm proudly trans, openly trans. You know, I like connecting with people who don't know trans people. Like, I love it. Introduce me to an older white conservative person, and I am on them. I am being so nice to them. I'm cracking jokes. Like, don't you wish your children were this nice? You know what I mean? Because I really believe that, like, they just live with stereotypes. They don't know me, you know? And, you know, I just think that, like, the fastest way to make friends is to be a friend, and that, you know, if they like me, then that's maybe the only trans person that they know, and maybe something good will come of that. But I didn't feel like I could win over 70,000 Christian cowboys, which is also now what I call Grindr, that fast. Like, fast enough, right? So I'm kind of feeling a way about it, man, because I'm like, you know, I've lived in Houston my whole life. I'm a Texan. Like, I've been here. This is my place. I'm feeling kind of weird about it. And then Creed played Higher, and I was just catapulted out of that feeling, gone. Hands in the air myself. August got her hands in the air. We're having a good time. No problems. Forgot all about it. End of chapter 4. All right, guys. So the next story is called Orbit Outlet. It's going to be read by Ty Mahany. I was just seeing if you were paying attention. That's why I pointed at you guys. I didn't say Andrew said. And read by my good friend, Greg Cote.
Hello. There is a comfort in the floor tiles. When the rest of the scenery changes quickly and often, the tiles stay the same. There was one in particular that formed the base of my childscape in the 1970s, and it's still around. You know them. Industrial floor tiles are the kind of thing that are familiar without being recognized. Simple 12 by 12 squares of coordinated chaos distracting from dirt and damage. It also hides a cool trick for a kid with the right motivation. If concentrated focus when the world above it got too complicated. In every hospital room, post office, and school in every town, in every state, there was a common thread. Vinyl composition tile with Excelsior Imperial texture. That is the official name of these random dots and splotches designed to resist attention, but that held mine. If I slowed everything down enough, if I breathed at just the right pace and softened my eyes, the dots would transform from being printed on the tile to floating in the tile. And once they were free, so was I. All the fear or anger or sadness or confusion, they would all evaporate from my skin in a bright, sparkly mist. And in that moment, I could be in any room, in any city, or I could be nowhere. There was no way to recognize a specific tile. That was the point. A specific tile would have to have additional context, something different, something important, something like a man with a gun yelling, "Nobody fucking look at me!" The week prior was spent at a mountain camp called Ballarat. This was an educational retreat that fifth graders in Denver, Colorado look forward to. In the lead up to the trip, I had been terrified. I was still relatively new at Force Elementary and hadn't figured out how to be acceptable to the group yet. I wasn't excluded or disliked, really. I just wasn't quite clear, if that makes sense. Ballarat had changed that. Between lessons in team building, first aid, and scat identification, I made some friends. I made a teacher laugh, and I held hands with Jessica Arredondo. It was better than I could have hoped. I was regaling my cousin Michael with slightly exaggerated tales of my time with Jessica, using baseball analogies neither of us truly understood. I think I settled on fielder's choice as an ambiguous enough to prevent further inquiry. He did, however, have one more question to which I had no answer, truthful or otherwise. Is she your girlfriend now? I had not even considered that. How could I not have considered that? I had stared at this girl every day for the past month. I had saved her from so many communist kidnappers and stormtroopers that set upon Force Elementary every day since my brain got there. What was the point of all that laser play if not to gain a princess girlfriend? I don't know. The next several minutes were filled with everything we thought we knew about how the title of girlfriend was legally conveyed. Is a verbal agreement necessary? Does the official check yes or no paperwork have to be filled out? I can't remember which one of us suggested that the presence of an erection was binding, but it was quickly and awkwardly dismissed. What was decided was that to seal the deal, I would need to present her with some sort of token of my affection. And I instantly knew what it should be. The smoking monkey with magic cigarettes I saw at my favorite place, Orbit Outlet. Orbit Outlet was 1 block away, but somehow a whole separate universe. It was my favorite part of that neighborhood. It was part of a small shopping center, but looked separate, like the rest of the stores grew around it, trying not to intrude. It's hard to describe what sort of shop it was. If Denver was a house, it was its junk drawer. If the World War II vet at the helm had an idea of how the store was organized, he kept it to himself. I am sure there were actual treasures among the shelves, stacks, and drawers, but it was all magic to me. There was a mannequin in one corner wearing a gas mask, a bomber jacket, and holding a carburetor to sort of sum up the setting. I had just squatted down by the shelf where I had earlier hid the smoking monkey with magic cigarettes, lest someone else get him. The fact that it could now be also used as an engagement ring just proved my foresight in these matters. I was holding the package in my hand when the door tinkled the arrival of our gunman. If I saw his face, I don't remember. I saw the gun. It was small, like me. I saw the face of the owner, and he showed no fear. This was not like me. When the robber yelled not to look at him, I instantly looked straight down and found the familiar VCT. The top left corner of this tile was missing. The empty space reminded me of the shape of Iowa. That helped. I could hear the two men speaking quickly, but I wasn't listening to the words. The owner's tone was very calm. That helped. I stared deeper into the tile and slowed everything I could. The bag that held the monkey was crinkling as my hand shook, but I wouldn't let it go. I wondered if the sound annoyed them. I breathed in as slowly as I could and held. The fear was latched on to my skin, and as I stared, I could feel it loosen. The dots and smudges came unstuck as the voices grew distant. I could feel myself in the spaces between, looking back from a math test in Miss Birdie's class, worried about my parents, a hospital room where my blood had joined the colors of the tile, the bathroom back at Ballarat at 2 a.m. trying to decide if I should wash my hand ever again because I could still feel where Jessica squeezed it. I didn't hear the bell when the thief ran out. I just heard the man on the phone to the police. I stood up and walked to the front. Holy shit, kid, I didn't see you. Are you okay? I looked up and I nodded my head, trying to look calm. He began speaking into the phone as I tinkled myself back outside and blinked to the dark from my eyes. There were a few people in the parking lot, birds chirping and a blue sky. I looked at my hand and I saw the tip of each finger was black from where they had pressed into the tile. I thought I would still wait to wash it for a bit. When I saw my cousin near the alley trying to bunny hop over a can of Mellow Yellow, I wiped my fingertips on my tough skins and ran over to let him know that I had finally stolen the monkey. Thank you.
All right, well, it was, oh, I did it, thank you. It ain't over yet. Not part of that story, but sadly, Ty, who wrote that story, found out recently that Jessica, who was in that story, has died. He wanted this to be announced, and for it to say, quote, "Men are awful, tip the waitstaff." And with that, somebody died. And we talked about overdoses and drug addiction and anxiety and robbery, and I have had a great time. This is exactly like The Happening, believe it or not. And now I'm gonna finish my story, and this last part, I don't know, I didn't really come up with too many notes for it, but so we're at the rodeo, right, and I'm on drugs, and I'm with Aga and Cree just playing, and I have to go to the bathroom, but no, I don't anyways, because it would have been a ghost shit. So the show ends, and I get to take my time with this one because we're out of stories, so hang tight. The show ends, and Aga and I are hanging out, and we're looking at the crowd leaving, and we're like, no, we don't want to do any of that. And we're waiting, and we're right in this side area, really close to where the stage tucks in, because it's the LD Systems posse hangout spot. And all these gold badge cowboys are heading down to the dirt. And they're all yelling at each other, and they're like, "Come on, get on down here, whatever." They're not talking to me, but I turn around to Aga and go, "Yeah, come on." And we make our way down, and we just walk out onto the dirt. And we're standing there, very obviously not supposed to be there. I mean, mostly Aga, who is and I'm just having a great time. Drunk girls are asking me to take their photo. I'm like, hell yeah, I didn't drop out of art school for nothing. I live for this. And this one security guard notices us, and he's like, "What y'all doing?" And he was very nice to us, I think, because he could tell we needed somebody to be very nice to us. And we hung out for a little bit, and then we decided to leave, but we didn't want to go back through the stadium. And because you know what the stadium's like when it's letting out? 70,000 drunk Christian cowboys. Anyways, so I looked backstage, and I'm like, I bet we can go out that way. So Aga and I make our way to backstage, and we enter the bowels of NRG Stadium. I mean, the depths, where you are definitely not supposed to be part of the stadium. And we're back there, and we are just nervously pacing, trying to get out unnoticed. And we start doing this thing where it's we just start, we're just yes, everything is fine. Just laughing like two giddy girls who are just supposed to be there. And finally, we find our way out of the stadium, and we go outside, and we sit down on a bench, and I am peeking. And this drunk cowboy comes up and sits with us. And he's one of those types, 3 names type. Curtis Leroy Jones, I don't know. And I hit him with a Andrew Day Whit. And I'm talking to him, and he is just rambling, and his kids are crawling all over him, and his wife is walking around with whoever, and she's pissed and whatever, and he is 5 sheets to the wind. And at some point he just says, he goes, "I love everybody." And I look at him and I say, "Everybody?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Everybody except the devil." And I was like, "Oh, perfect, my man. Couldn't have said it better myself." And he gets up and he says, "God is good, but Creed is better." And he leaves. And I'm going to think about that for the rest of my life. And then finally, Aga's husband gets out of the show. He finds us, rescues us. And he goes, "Hey, y'all want to go have a beer at the Swamp?" And I'm like, nobody's ever said anything cooler to me in my life. Let's go have a beer at the Swamp. So he walks us through several parking lots. And we start going past security points, and he just is saying to people, "We're going to the Swamp." And I am thrilled by this. I'm like, "Yep, Swamp, us. That's where we're going." And we make our way down to this spot, the bridges that used to go to Astroworld. There's the grassy knolls in between there. There was this outpost camp thing, and it just had a plywood sign that spray painted on it said "Swamp." And so we go down in there, and it's these tents, and it's just all these AV guys, and they're sitting in there on this brand new, really nice rented furniture, tag still on them, drinking beer. And I sit down with them, and I'm having a great time. They all know I'm having a great time, so they're being very nice to me. And while I'm enjoying my free beer, suddenly I remember the LSD shit. And I was like, oh, okay, there's probably a bathroom here. So I get up and I leave the tent without saying anything to anybody, like you do. And I spy a porta potty. And I'm like, hell yeah, make my way over to that porta potty, go inside. It's awful. And then you think I peed my pants. You all think I peed my pants. You hope I peed my pants like I did in 1995 when I saw Selena at the rodeo. Well, I didn't. That would have made a great story, but it's not this story. Instead, I went in there, and I did it, and it was awful, and there was no mirror, so I couldn't, look at myself or anything, but that didn't stop me from having an existential crisis. But this one was different, because I kind of thought about this whole thing, where it's like, I've lived in Houston my whole life, and every good thing and every bad thing that's ever happened to me has been here, and it's like every good thing has a bad thing. Going to the rodeo and seeing Selena, pissing my pants. Going to the rodeo and seeing Creed. Good and bad, highs and lows. But it's all been awesome. And it's really been awesome because of spaces like this. Truly. So I say this thing about Houston all the time, where it's like, Houston is an art town, but it's not an industry town. And, it's like if you want to dance, you go to New York. You want to act, you go to LA. You want to make music, you go to Austin. But when you're an artist in an industry town, you have a different kind of pressure. You have a different type of agenda. But here in Houston, I think that, we do this thing that I've started identifying as experiential art. It is made just as much for me doing this as it is for you being here. And I think that's freaking incredible, y'all. I've been doing this my whole life. Every institution, organization, artsy nonprofit in this town just kicks ass, And thank you so much for being here tonight. I hope that you will keep going to shows at all these different places. I wrote down some. Go to GUST, go to Catastrophic Theater, go to Ice House Radio, go to anything they're doing at Natsuo, check out Axelrad, go to The Way Up, go to Bohemios, just check out Throughline, go to anything that they're doing at the Orange Show, maybe even The Happening. Wouldn't that be nice? And so, with The Happening now in mind, I'm going to do something real special with you guys. It's going to be like an Oprah moment. Because underneath your seats, or maybe on the floor if they fell, are some pieces of paper that reveal this month's Happening lineup. And you are literally the first people. They're literally, yes, maybe they're under the table, I don't know, I let the grown-up, yeah, that is the Happening lineup that has not been announced yet. You are the first people to see it, and you know why? Because you're here, supporting the arts, and you're just great for doing that. Yeah, thank you so much. I really, really, really liked you guys for being here. And I got one more thing I want to do before y'all all start, unless you're talking about The Happening and how great it is. All right. So everybody, hold that piece of paper in your, what is it? I don't know how to, left hand, put your right hand up, put your left hand on that piece of paper and hold it to your heart. Yeah. And now repeat after me. Okay, you're both holding it together. That's so cute. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the Houston art scene, that I will go and support as much of it as possible. That was long. Because I support good people having good times in Houston, Texas, forever. Cheers, 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 cheers. Thank you all so much. My name has been Andrew Whit, and I have had so much fun doing this tonight. Can I get everybody who helped with this show up here on the stage with me? I think that would be sick. Writers, if you're here, readers for sure, organizers, come on, everybody, get on up. Oh, you just threw my own chains at me. Yeah, we'll finish with that. God's good. God's good. Creed is better. One more time. Give it up for everybody.